Okay, so obviously today the markets were closed for the US and Canada, I think. But I was watching the European markets instead. So I did suggest that DAX would open down on Monday. So it closed very well. I think it closed up 3.33% on Friday. But then as it closed, the US market started to come down. So had the DAX, the German market, stayed open alongside the US markets, probably would have closed down, sort of 1.5% lower than it otherwise did. With that said, I also think that on Monday, markets generally wanted to open lower. So all that put together, the DAX opened substantially lower than I thought it would, and it actually tested the bottom. So the low that it had 2 days ago, 2 days prior. So that would have been Thursday, 2 business days before. And to be honest, that was even weaker price action than I expected. And it closed, it closed off its lows, but still pretty ugly stuff. If you zoom in, the 3 minute candle, which is probably one of my favorites for short-term trading, you can see we didn't take out the open, the high of the open. And to me, this is weak price action. I mean, it could have been weaker, it could have just closed at its lows. But for me, tomorrow, and also, I mean, I analyze technicals and short term, but the back of my mind, I've always got the fundamental macro picture. And I mean, it's horrible for Europe. It's not just interest rates interest rates haven't even gone up, so it's weak without interest rates going up. But the inflation is horrible, and interest rates have to go up. And even more damning is the energy crisis, which we're not even in autumn. So imagine in winter, everyone knows that Europe is toast when it comes to energy. And if it's a cold winter, it's going to be even worse. You can see all the governments preparing their populations to brace for, rationing almost. It's horrible to me. I mean, there are more things. I mean, the debt, the fracturing of Europe, the obviously the war, the everything. I mean, it's there are so many black swan possibilities for Europe. It's governments falling, anything can happen. And to be honest, things are happening. So I think the DAX is going to go lower tomorrow, test its lows, maybe not all in one day, but eventually just break this. I've been saying it for a while. Watch this 12,400. Today's price action was even more bearish than I expected, considering we closed up here at sort of above 13,000. And already today we tested, 12,600. So just normally I focus on US markets, but for me, the DAX is pretty important because Europe is kind of more important for now. And if we break, if we break 12,600 tomorrow, for example, or the day after, we very quickly visit 12,400. By then, we're probably breaking this trend line, but I think the all important trend line is 12,400. So I think we'll test 12,400 this week. What are we, Monday? Yeah, this week. And then if we close below 12,400, ciao, straight to 11,000, whatever this is, 500, which we identified in a prior video. Yeah, 11,500-ish. So DAX very weak, and that's with light volume, given the US, North American markets being closed. So there's not too much to look at. I mean, gold, silver, sort of sideways action. Silver up 0.5%, but to be honest, not going to look into it too much. Gold very flat, thin volume, interest rates, nothing to speak of. So really, for me, it's the DAX being very weak. It's the dollar continuing to be strong, although it did come off quite a bit. I mean, it opened quite high and ran above 110, the all-important 110, but closed below it. Again, today is a bit special. It's sort of light volume, but still, it's a sign of things to come, maybe. I don't see a blow off top yet. So dollar high, DAX low, Bitcoin, cryptos, those are 24/7. So Bitcoin, which I also expected to be lower, was lower. Now I think we're waiting for Tuesday for everything to happen at least. So whether it's the DAX testing its 12,400 or Bitcoin testing 19,000, let's call it 500, I think it's going to happen Tuesday. But Bitcoin is pretty weak, which is not too surprising because, I mean, 15-minute chart, you can see, I mean, we saw already it was weak for a while, although it wasn't as weak as the market on certain sessions. But overall, I mean, look at this. This is just, I mean, you can call it lower highs, lower lows. It's just trading absolutely on the edge. It's not going to take much to flush this. And I don't even think it's going to be a fake out. I think we're going to go down to 19,500, the 1 minute chart, and then bounce around there, and then 17,500. So, sorry, 19,000, not 19,500. We're already there. So, yeah, Bitcoin lower, DAX lower, dollar higher, gold and silver lower, although not as much as the markets because I think there's going to be some fear buying. So, the miners lower because of the markets, but not as low as the other sectors. I think gold and silver could surprise us a little bit by not going down as much as people think. But I think you might still be better off in cash. But anyway, I'm sort of 50-50, so I don't mind. It's what I call the sort of invincibility position where you've got a lot of cash, but you're also in your sector. So if it goes up, you're happy, you're making money. If it goes down, you're happy because you wanted to add more. So I'm pretty comfortable. I'm kind of hoping we go lower because there are so many good stocks on sale, and it's not just gold and silver. There are some stocks. I think it's time that I make a video on these other sectors that I look at. For example, 3D printing, but also some other particular stocks in random sectors. I think you've got to really be a bit of a sniper in this type of a market. But there are lots of good deals, lots of good companies that are already cheap, and I think they can get significantly cheaper, especially if we start to have a cascade down. A lot of people think we've already gone down a lot, and you've got some good companies down almost 80-90%. Kind of ones I've got listed here. I mean, like Alibaba, look at this total destruction. I mean, Peloton, these stocks I don't really care about, but when they're down this much, these are not trashy companies. They're not like Chinese IPOs going bankrupt. Zoom has obviously made a lot of money since Corona times, and now it's all the way back down, sort of at the lows before COVID. It's kind of ridiculous. Um, I mean, even companies going bankrupt when they go down this much, they have beautiful bounces. So a lot of opportunity. Imagine the markets really start to cascade down. You're going to get these stocks even cheaper. Um, DocuSign, Meta, Netflix. I'm not really a fan of all this sort of stuff, but these are established companies that if they bounce 20-30%, So it's a nice swing for a couple of weeks. PayPal was something I was in, but I sold around 80, high 80s, 88. It kept going, but whatever. Yeah, I'll do another video on those, but it's just to say if the markets go down, obviously my eyes are all on the commodities. It's not just precious metals, and I'll make another video on commodities. I like my oil, gas, uranium. Jesus, uranium, they made such uh good profits in uranium companies. And obviously Bitcoin too, big if the markets go down, let's just look at the DAX for now. I mean, this is obviously lower. This is 20% bear market, but imagine we take out 12,400, fine, we go here, and then what? Imagine we go down to March 2020 lows. I mean, that's easily justifiable. And that's another, from where we are, look at that 35% low, crazy. So you got to watch out when this market drops, and you got to have cash on the sidelines. And I think we're gonna do it. The DAX first, and then the SPY will follow. And if we look at the SPY, it's, if you remember, nowhere near its lows. But if the DAX takes out 12,400, we'll easily visit this area. 370s on the SPY, low 370s. But look where its March 2020's lows are from where we are now. Incredible. No one could think that's possible, 40%, but why not if you really have a crisis? And then what's it worth? Where are gold miners there? What about uranium stocks? No matter how good their fundamental story is, they'll get taken down too. So Cash will be king in such a scenario. Imagine Bitcoin. Where would that be? I mean, that would follow the Nasdaq, which has what? How much of a move down to go from where it is to go to March 2020? Similar, 40% down. And if Bitcoin just matches that, normally it would surpass that on the way down. But 40%, let's just say cutting in half Bitcoin from what are we, 20,000, 10,000? Yeah, that's fine. That's doable. I already think we're going to 12, 13,000. So yeah, I'm watching the downside. Um, but not too much to speak of today because the markets were closed, just the DAX and Bitcoin really. And the DAX was particularly weak and Bitcoin was average weak. So anyway, good luck. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Yeah, good luck. Thanks.